Hema, Chairperson of CII Indian Women Network Telangana for 25-26 and Special Invitee for the Leadership Advancement Pillar at IWN Southern Region. With over 3 decades in learning and development, consulting, and BFSI, Hema is a leadership coach, mentor, and facilitator who helps senior leaders unlock their full potential. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Devika.
Deepa Chandrasekharan. She is a career acceleration coach, leadership facilitator, TEDx speaker, and author with 26 years of corporate and entrepreneurial experience. Deepa supports leaders in aligning values with careers and is passionate about intention living and self-awareness. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Preetam Sawant. She is a global leadership coach, career strategist, and abstract artist. Preetam has worked with top executives and specializes in guiding women through transformative midlife reinventions, which is a focus of our topic today, which is 40s is the new 60s, blending strategy with soulful insight and helping professionals embrace freedom, confidence, and impact. Thank you, Preetam, for joining the panel today.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, Vibha Singh. She is an independent journalist for the Times of India, researching cybercrime, AI, and fake news. Vibha brings 30 years of journalism and teaching experience and is the author of books on investigative journalism and fact-checking.
Much, Devika. Thank you for introducing me.
You are most welcome, Vibha.
Devika, just stepping back a little, I have about 30 years of work experience, 33. Equally in banking, BFSI, and now in learning and development. So it was in 2007 when I was doing very well in banking, when the bug bit me for a change. And when I say the bug bit me, it was literally like I was going through this an extended viral bout, where there's a lot of discomfort. I knew I was looking for something else. And I was in that phase where mid-career, right? Like they say, you're wondering what to do. And those days, and I'm talking about 2007, early 2000s, when it was not okay to chuck a known career and get into something unknown. But the discomfort in me was so much. I started having conversations, and something that has helped me throughout is, probably I don't have plans in my head. I talk to people, so maybe that helped. So that was one rule, rewriting a rule that is, it's okay to talk about your plans to people. So I looked at what is it beyond the traditional role of banking that I could get into. So there was an element of reimagining, constantly looking at thinking of what is it that I could do, which will help me feel more settled, that restlessness getting control. So that is when I probably took the untrodden path, or the broke the norm and got into learning and development, which was completely disconnected from what I was doing. I was a chief manager in a bank. I was handling liabilities and assets for very large corporates. I was heading I was the primary relationship manager in the bank that I was working for, and pretty well, we were doing pretty well. And then I pick up this career path. The only thing I knew there was a gift of the gab, that I could talk my way out of any situation, hopefully. And that was the only credential which kind of triggered me to apply. And of course, there were friends and mentors, peer mentors, who helped me apply for this, and gave me the lead. And then I got through, and I got through a training company, joined them in their Hyderabad office, and destiny kind of got me to become the branch head of the Hyderabad office. And then my own strengths got in my way. I was good at business development, so though I had moved from banking to this to do something more creative, I got again saddled with business development. So again, I quickly pivoted. I got into another training company where I became VP sales and national training manager. So I could do both. And then, of course, a lot of other things happened. And I realized I was burning myself out, literally burning both ends of the candle kinds. Then I moved to a freelance model and I continue in that journey till this day. So the anchor line, if I could say, was the rule I broke in when I was in my late 30s, 40s was not settling and restarting, having the gumption to restart. And I think that one voice from my gut that I listened to helped me literally reimagine what I was doing, redefine what success meant for me, and of course, get into this journey of adding value to people's lives.
That's simply wonderful. I would like to hear Deepa's views on this.
Yeah, so this is a great question, and as I was wondering, and Hema was sharing her experience. One of the unwritten rules that I would like to rewrite, is about the assumptions that we have about what women can do or can't do, also what women should do and shouldn't do, based on their age, based on their stage in life. There are so many cultural norms and implicit expectations that we hold, especially with women, and this is coming from personal experiences. This is also coming from so much of conversations I have with my coaches who are women. And when they come and talk about what's happening when they're attending interviews, going for jobs, just that, to give an example, there was a very senior leader who went for an interview and she was told, why do you even need to work? Because you can just be at home and look after your kids. Your husband is in a great job, in a great organization. So there are, very, very, it feels sad when I hear about these things because they are just unwritten. So I would love to rewrite and give that ownership to women to decide what she can do or she can't do, or what she would like to do or she would not like to do. Like, let that stay with the woman and not be imposed upon by the society or the culture or the organization. So that's one rule that I would definitely want to rewrite.
A very simple thing. Being a journalist has its own challenges, if you will see. And I've been an investigative journalist for nearly 20 years. And then I shifted over to soft kind of journalism for different reasons. Because when you are unmarried, things are a different platform. You are a different person. You are a different individual. You have your parents support you. The moment I got married, the 10 years were a big struggle for me because my family was not ready to. My in-laws were not ready to accept that I am doing a story on prostitutes. I'm doing a story on bar girls. They were felt very uncomfortable, me visiting the bars and all that and coming out with those stories. So that transition period of mine and struggling with them about this, coming late home at 2:30 at night from a bar, they never thought that I am not sitting in the bar for drinking or something like that. I'm sitting in the bar for a story, which is very important to me. And then a series of stories which we did. We used to be getting lots of threats from people, politicians. Like I was more into women abuse stories. And basically after that, I went into senior citizens, and senior citizens being duped by people in a different way. Not exactly just being by family, but there were lots of issues with senior citizens facing. I realized that my family, my in-law started talking about it in a major way when I used to write a story that you're always pointing out senior citizens. Are you pointing out us that we are the ones who are the more molesting the women at home or we are the abusers at home? I never meant that in my story. So that was a big struggle for me writing those stories for 10 years. Then I took a slow transition from those kind of investigative stories to bringing on now the social issues in focus, whether it was abuse or what. Rather than doing investigation, I've fixed now on my news line kind of a thing, focusing just on news. So that was a basic which I didn't like myself, transition, because my family was struggling because of that. So when you're talking about the personal transition, definitely from being an investigative reporter, just being a news reporter, this somebody will understand who's been into journalism. it's a big setback for us. We start feeling low down because investigative journalism is a higher kind of a journalism, and news journalism is just for the basic people. But yeah, I did learn a lot of things in that both these stages. That there's a balance which you as a woman has to maintain when you take a transition. It's not always being a fiery woman at home or being a firefighter, you taking this thing and moving around. Sometimes a balance has to be maintained to maintain your family also, which I advise everyone. There's a personal balance in your career, in your life. We all are fighters, we know very well, but someday we have to stop down. And that stop down brought me into teaching, brought me into actually taking up the role of bringing out this NGO called Women Against Cyber Abuse, where I could now speak and do things in a different way. That's it. Thank you.
Think, Viva has, said few things which really, stuck to me as well. Because many times we think that, failure means like a huge setback. That's what we think, right? So early in my career also, there were many leadership roles which I actually handled very successfully. So there was this particular role which I felt that I was destined for it. Like this is like, what I'm aiming for and I'm going to get it. But in the end, like it was passed on to someone else. And then, sometimes when such things happen, you don't realize, the effect immediately. What you do is like, you question your abilities. Mostly with the women, it happens like, okay, what happened there? Okay, I was doing everything that is required. So I question my abilities, I question my choices, and even I was, questioning whether it is the right direction for me or not, even after spending so many years. So I think failures, rather than taking as something as a setback, now in hindsight, actually I feel it was an opportunity for me to sit with myself and actually align the direction, like where I wanted to go. And that's how I ended up into a coaching, because I handled so many, projects. I had led USA Asia Pacific teams. I was handling a team of, eight. Once there was these eight guys totally, and I was the only one female. So many, opportunities I had, which actually helped me to help women more. Like because I had gone through those different problems, which were women faces into the leadership role. So that's how, when I entered into the coaching, I started to guide leaders more, because I understood when the failures happen, you need to sit with yourself. You can't just immediately, try to, okay, let me do it again and redo it and redo it. You need to first understand what happened there and where I need to pivot. So in my coaching session, actually, I use this pivot point, which is very important tool, which I give to women, so that if the failure has happened, now where I can pivot, what direction I can take, which are my transferable skills, which I can use more, what I can take the leverage of. And that's what I implemented for myself. I had a great knack for guiding, mentoring. People used to come for, like asking advice, how do I handle my team and everything. And I found like, why not I convert it into a coaching opportunity itself. And that's how I'm leading now, many like a great business in the coaching, as well as there are so many leaders under Fortune 500 companies who are like working, and I'm coaching them as well. So I feel, see your failures as your launching pads. They are wonderful things happening in your life if you are failing. So I think that's how I transition my career. And there is nothing like, it is not the end of the world. That is what you have to simply tell. In life, sometimes things are going to work in your favor and sometimes they are not going to work in your favor. So you have to just move on with the proper, I will say, reflection. So self-awareness and self-reflection, they are going to help you in your failure. So it is very important. So that's what I would like to say.
Deepa, balancing career, personal life, and passions. It is not an easy feat. How do you do? And if there was something you wish to know earlier when you were facing the challenges, or any advice that you would like to give younger women.
Interesting. I think in the earlier years, initial years, it became two silos, right? Family and career. There was nothing more that I would, or and it didn't even occur that you could do something else. So, and I think a lot of times I have let my, the need to build your nest kind of overtake career growth. Because I know earlier in my career, I started with investment banking and it with an NBFC and doing quite well. And I remember people, seniors from Mumbai coming and saying, all you have to do is just take that leap of faith and move to Mumbai, you'll grow very well. But then I had just gotten married and, just was setting up home. So it was like, oh, no, 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 I don't want to dismantle this home front kind of the dream that you have, whereas I could have had a conversation and actually moved and career would have taken a different path. Not that there's any regret now, but I'm just saying, the kind of things that um, you have to balance out at different points of time. And then at one point of time the priority became just maybe home on autopilot, but you're just trying to make sure you're going to office, coming back, making sure you're meeting all your deliverables at office, trying to grow, and then the kid, the home, that kind of stuff. So everything took a backseat. Passion, doing anything for community, doing anything more was just not happening. And then there came a point in my life where this was 2019. Actually, yeah, a little earlier, 2018, 19 kinds, when after I had moved to training, learning and development, training, facilitation, I felt I was very inspired to, put my thoughts into a book. So again, I started talking to people, friends whom I knew, like-minded individuals. And then I found, destiny brought me in touch with who's now my co-author. We authored a book called Unspoken Heroines. We started the journey again because we started talking to each other and we realized there's so much more that we could do. So both of us at similar stages in our career, we kind of said, okay, let's now stretch and put our thoughts together. And we brought out this book. The release was a pandemic release. July 2020 was when it came out. But that's when I started. That's the time when I realized I could do more. And that's also the time I started researching and came across bodies like Indian Women Network. And I'm happy that I kind of stumbled into IWN, as we call it. And that's when probably that also started, the process of questioning why you're there, what more can you do. And today it's been a happy journey in Indian Women Network. I also lead the Telangana chapter of IWN, and I'm an active part of Southern Region as per like how Devika introduced me. But then that's when I realized, and today my message is to a lot of people who join IWN or who are looking for what can I do. So there's that constant, hey, listen, you can do much more. It's not just career, there's personal life, and there's passion. And you need to truly prioritize what matters because sometimes one is so overwhelming that it kind of overshadows the other aspects. So it's time to, like Preetham also said, you need to have these conversations with yourself from time to time. Just that me time that you need to process. Where do you really want to go? What are the boundaries you have to set at home? What are the expectations you have to manage with people at work, people at home, and do what you want to do in terms of passion and all the other dimensions, whether it's community, whether it's, for me, community as well as what I want to do, like that aligns. But there are people who probably want to pursue a hobby or something else, or a startup idea, some nascent idea, do some research. It's important. And today my messaging was, had I looked back, had I had a mentor who would have spoken to me, so I would have probably got into something else earlier and not let these silos be overwhelming for me. So I think what's really important in terms of balancing career, personal life, and passion is, first, have that conversation with yourself and prioritize. Identify where your energy comes from. Because while we are doing work, yeah, let's face it, the EMIs and the responsibilities are also harsh reality. You can't live with your head in the clouds and not be able to pay your EMI or maintain that standard of living. While that is true, see what you can do with that job or with that current career, which is, and see where your pockets of energy lie, and accordingly kind of invest and see what you can balance. And then before you reach that point of burnout, and today there's a lot of burnout in terms of mental health, physical health, before you reach that point of burnout, and then it becomes a non-negotiable that you have to change or have to regroup what is important for you. I think it's good to do it right up front. And in all this, find a close circle of buddies, cheerleaders, mentors, whom you talk to and who are non-judgmental about this entire process.
Thank you. I'm glad that you spoke about mental health. Today being World Mental Health Day, I'm very happy that we are discussing about empowering and advancing women careers. I would like to hear what Deepa has to say.
Just one more point
Yes,
here.
yes.
I believe I strongly have this antenna go up when we say empowering, because I believe we all have that potential to be, we have it in us. So there is nobody who has to kind of give you that magic wand wish to say, okay, I'm empowering you.
Yes.
It's about
Thanks. So I was resonating so much with what Hema was sharing because I have had a similar journey of being in corporate for close to 2 decades. And during that time, getting married, having a kid. And so life was just so robotic during that time. We were just doing what was needed, and it was either career or it was life, and life consisted of family and kids and her school and her education. So there was no time to reflect or even ask, what do I want? There were a few non-negotiables for me as I was going through that 20 years. And even now, when I reflect back, sometimes I don't even remember what happened during those years. Everything was just so set as per the time. 6 o'clock, this needs to happen. Even if it's 6:05, I'm going to miss the bus and I'll have to then drive her to school. So everything was just so organized in the calendar. And I've realized that after I left my corporate journey and I moved into learning and development, and now I've been here for the last 8 years, I have realized the multi-dimensionality of each one of us. There's so much in us which just lies dormant until we reflect, to take what Preetham was also saying, and figure out what else is there which is calling out from within. What do I want to do? Where do I want to be? What kind of circles do I want to create? What kind of opportunities do I want to opt for or go for or push for? So yeah, it's so true that the age where we have the energy is just spent in balancing. And I no longer actually believe that you can have a good work-life balance. We can integrate work and life because both of them are a very core part of who we are. And it's just about sometimes work is going to take a priority and sometimes other aspects of life are going to take a priority. And it's okay to do both and live through it. Another thing which I hear a lot of times that people call about or talk about is how I wish my passion could be. That's another myth that we all have been told over and over again, because again, we need to integrate passion into our lives. We might not have careers which are directly, people are lucky. Right now, my passion is my career, but it was not until some time back. So, how can we integrate more of who we are, what we enjoy doing, what gives us energy into our lives, and make it more holistic, even while we are working, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, whatever it might be. So, my advice is going back, if I reflect and look at those years of my life, I wish someone would have told me that you can do more, you can try more things, you can experiment a little bit more, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes. Um, and being a woman, I also realized that we are all born perfectionists. We want to do the best of what we give our time to, which also stops us from experimenting in newer areas and newer avenues, or just exploring new things to see if I can do it or if it's not the right thing for me. So I would advise, people and young women, or even women who are in their 40s and 50s and 60s, to give themselves the chance. And there's a very beautiful book, it's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. I don't know if people have read it. It's such a fantastic book where there's a statement which is everyone is winging it. So nobody knows the answer. We are never ready for the opportunity. I would just advise that go for it. Just take it. Because I've seen so many women constantly preparing for the opportunity. They're reading, taking certifications, they're undergoing training, while at the same time, the men are just going for it. And we are just constantly preparing, never ending preparation. And trust me, we'll never be prepared. So just wing it, just take it. I'm sure there'll be support. Ask for help, trust in yourself, and just go for it. Things happen. So trust yourself, believe that you can do it, seek support, surround yourself with a lot of mentors, coaches, sponsors who can pull you up, and take you where you deserve to be, and enjoy your life, have fun. That's my message to everyone.
Lovely.
I
And
think,
I have read the book, so yeah.
You
So
have,
wonderful.
yeah, it's just such a
Wonderful.
beautiful book.
Yes. Preetham.
so Devika, I would like to add something
Yes.
to, the point which Hema and Deepa mentioned here. I think, when we talk about balance, what we are doing wrong is that balance in terms of what? Who decided this balance is equally important? For me, the balance could be really different. Like, maybe because every woman is going through different phases of life. Okay, there are like, it is happening for the men also. Okay, it is not just about women. So it is very important to decide what is like balance. What does it mean to you? And secondly, don't try to be perfect. Most of the times when we say balance, that means people think that I have to be perfect in each of the areas. So life has different areas. There is life, there is career, there are like your kids that you are handling, then there is a passion. So please understand that you don't have to do everything at the same time. At like, so sometimes the balance is going to look like that your career is maybe 80%, your personal life maybe, at the 20%, maybe, your passion is taking your 60%, and your kids are taking 40%. So you have to sit with yourself. That's why I again and again recommend, the we just ignore that, time with, when we say that, self love, please understand, self love means, just sit with yourself and do things intentionally. That is the best part that you can do with yourself. And have your three non-negotiables. I'm talking taking this time because it is very important. I've seen so many women coming and saying that this is not happening, there is no balance. I feel my ambitions are like driving me crazy, but I'm not able to give my 100% to it. Who has asked you to give you 100%? Okay, so decide your 100% might be 80% good enough. So decide your balance accordingly, which area is requiring your attention right now, and have your non-negotiables. In work, for example, I'm just giving an example. Suppose like I'm working. So for me, client important. Leading my team effectively is very important. Dedicating, focus time for my strategies, which will help my clients, is very important. So these are my non-negotiables. What are your non-negotiables in your work? For my personal life, there has to be a call daily to my parents. That is non-negotiable. So that is what is balance mean. It doesn't mean like I'm doing 10 things for my parents. Only one call can suffice that balance. So just figure out what is the balance that you mean, and then there can be a different percentage, and try to just figure out three things at a time. That's what I'll say, and then pick one and focus on that and be intentional about it.
Thanks for the addition, Preetham. And so, Deepa mentioned that men take risks naturally and women keep on preparing themselves. So, my next question is a workplace risk that you regret not taking. I will ask Vibha and Deepa to answer this question. Deepa, because you stated that point. So,
Deepa, you can go ahead. I'll answer it later.
Okay, so you're talking about workplace risk that
yes.
okay, so as I'm talking about these things, I have gone through these phases of my life, and looking back and being a coach now, it's our responsibility to sit with myself, to do a little bit of reflection, self-awareness. So that journey has been on for me for the last 8 years, and as I reflect back, I see I just didn't go for opportunities. Like I was not as assertive in asking for opportunities or asking for roles that I felt I could pursue. I was stuck again in that mindset of, oh, I have never done this before, so I don't think I'll be able to do it. Or others are better than me and I don't think. So there's a lot of imposter self-doubt, questioning that shows up, and it was true for me. But thankfully, there was a time when I was stuck in my, I didn't feel the energy. I was not happy doing what I was doing. It felt stagnated. That was the point when, for some reason, I still can't decipher that as I go back. I decided to quit that and move into something which was so much more, something that I was looking forward to. There was a lot of experimentation. Again, I come from a hardcore delivery background, so I was not in L&D, I was not in HR. I was like a hardcore delivery person working with clients, people, giving projects and stuff. So for me, it was a tough decision to take that risk. And that is one risk that I still pat my back for, because that changed the course of my life. Like, absolutely. So there are many, many things that I think I would have done differently if this was me going back and reliving my 20 years in the corporate. But I'm happy with what happened and where life took me, because if I was doing all of those things, then there I wouldn't be here. So, life has a plan, life has a destiny. And it has turned out pretty decent for me.
Very, very, very inspiring to hear you. Vibha,
Yeah, okay. Talking about, you said the risk or something which definitely, if we or you are a journalist, there's lots of things which you face. One is the lack of safety which we get, the lack of support from our organizations we work for. Even the best of the organizations, you talk about Times of India, Outlook, whichever I work with, they don't provide you support when you're doing a story which is beyond their control. Which they don't want it as such. Now the scenario has changed. Media has become more of an advertising thing, which I call it now. In our times, definitely it was journalism of courage. So that time, the risk we used to take without telling our editors, without telling our mentors about the story which we got, and then going into it, and the pressure of handling that story with politicians, with police officials, this was a risk I was taking blindly. Which now I feel, definitely I feel I had taken a good risk, because now all those men, all those people who helped me out with the stories are now good friends of mine. But yeah, that is a big risk. They became friends. That's a different issue. But there have been lots of cases you've heard about journalists who have faced, the recent cases of the Pune thing, which you have heard that people not supporting her. She was bitten on the streets. That has been with us also. We have faced these situations. So what I feel is risk to a level you should be taking, and you should be deciding upon the profession within which you are. Some professions are safer professions, but yeah, definitely our profession is not safe. So any women who's into journalism should keep herself, one, her personal safety, and her, I'll say the digital safety is very important in present scenario, because you may get threats from everywhere. So risk in bracket, definitely with a safety.
Yeah, I think just to top up Deepa's point and Preetham's point, it's not always that I wouldn't generalize that it's only women who rationalize too much in terms of taking that opportunity. I see conversations happening with even men who have kind of settled into that comfort zone of career, having a stable job. And there's a lot of conversation around I wish I had, and I heard this a lot when I moved from banking to this, learning and development. A lot of my ex-colleagues said, "Oh, I wish we had it in us to kind of just jump into something that we are passionate about, but something is holding us back." So many a times it is, I would say, um, it it is a it is what you rationalize that you end up regretting. So if your gut tells you, you should work towards it rather than think about, you are the one thinking, you're countering you. It's like a courtroom in your own head, right? You are the one wanting to do something, and you are the one kind of bringing out the pros and cons, and kind of it's self defeating. So like they say, no, the only regret is the ones you kind of rationalized away. So everybody's got regrets, but it's about which ones win in the courtroom in your head.
If I can just add one
Yes.
thing, what's coming to me is, when we talk about risks, it's about giving ourselves a chance. And I would encourage, again, it's men and women, both sometimes get stuck in their heads, like Hema is saying. So my only thing is give yourself a chance. Don't reject yourself before, others say this is not the right thing for you, or you realize that this is not the right thing for you. So standing up for yourself, and giving yourself a chance and repeating what you want for yourself, and allowing yourself to also sometimes say it out loud. We are so scared to say what we want because saying it out loud feels like, oh, I need to work towards it. So we crush it in our head only,
Yeah.
right? So I think we just need to give ourselves that opportunity, and then let whatever happen.
Yeah, and Devika, just to add one more point, sorry if I'm
Yes.
taking something that I feel very inspired when I look at the Gen Z, the millennials and Gen Zs, the younger millennials and Gen Zs, people who are in the cusp of moving from millennials to Gen Zs. They are okay to shift careers, take a risk. I wouldn't want them to take that over thing of not having financial stability and depending on parents, but the fact that they are open to switching careers, switching lines, maybe a startup once, maybe get back to the job once, maybe travel for a year or drop out for a year, I find that very inspiring. And that's something that Gen X and the millennials, who are the older millennials, are stuck. Maybe that's a cue we can pick up from the younger generation, to say that it's okay to have those different career paths, experiment and come back. Deepa also talked about experiment, give yourself a chance, something we can pick up from the younger generation.
Yeah, I agree with Hema
Yes.
because I teach in Divine Partly College and we have a course which says the creative studies. This is a course slightly higher than what we were teaching students, journalism, public relations, and all that. And now what we have found is most of these younger generation, they are registered for that course. Rather than going for journalism, public relations, or advertising, they are open for it that if they don't get jobs also, we'll do something. They are very clear about it. You ask them, do you see opportunities in your field? They are very clear about it. No, it's okay, ma'am, we'll do something. We'll either be a freelancer and earn more than what you were getting as a paid, whatever it is. So I agree with him. I totally. The younger generation is more open. They are more open to risk taking and they're more open about the thing. Financial thing does matter to them, and even if they're from humble backgrounds, but they know that they will manage. In our time, we were very scared of that part. If I lose my job, what next?
What?
That was a fear. We used to be sticking to that particular job which we were not liking at all. But these guys are not. They will shift and they just don't give you a chance only, and they'll just announce to me, I'm resigning tomorrow. And then you are like, what will you do next? Something. Don't worry. I'll manage. And that is what that management part of theirs, I love it. Because that management part we learned very late. We were in 40s when we learned this management part. In those 20 years of us, 20 to 40 years went in just managing our salaries, but they don't manage their salaries, they manage themselves very well. So that is what we should learn from them. I agree with you, Hema. That was a very good point you brought in, because it's something which we as leaders, or we've been put in, like what Devika has put in, we are not. There are some of them who actually, I learn every day so many lessons from them. So it's not being a leader or something like that. I think whoever is giving us an example or setting an example, go for it.
Start with Preetam.
Okay. So I think today, this is, we talked about mental health awareness. I think the one conversation that I really feel that, is still taboo is about, specifically for the women, is about the silent burn. Okay, what does it mean for me is there is this invisible, drain out of the mental energy, physical energy, constantly they are feeling burnt out. And it is not just about anymore like about the long hours or the workload. Okay, so what I feel is that we are living in such a world, there is so much information coming on to us, and we are constantly judging ourselves. That is what is adding more to this. We feel that what will it, if I do something, how will people judge me? Okay, so there is this anxiety which is there. Then if I ask for a support, then there is a fear of appearing as weak, especially in corporate world that I'm seeing that if I ask someone the support, then they will see me as someone who is weak. So we don't want to be the vulnerable one, we don't want to share our stories, and we hesitate a lot. So we hesitate from even speaking from in the meetings. Okay, so we talked about risk. So what I feel is that risk does not mean necessarily that you have to do some big adventure or jump from the cliff or anything. Risk, we have put the such a negative connotation to the word risk. So risk could be just simply start talking into the meeting, just one change, lead differently, bring a little shift the way you wear clothes. Maybe it is giving you more confidence. Don't judge what will happen. So these are small changes also, risk taking. So the silent burn is happening because so much expectations we have kept on ourselves, from self, from others. And then with the women is specifically, if I'm aiming for something more, I'm feeling guilty about it. That is something is also adding a lot of this burden on their shoulders. So how can I just keep my kids behind and aim for something bigger? How can I ask for that promotion? So maybe I'm not eligible for that. So that's why that certification after certification they keep on doing it. So this is nothing but it is actually draining out the energy of these women out there. So I think I feel we need to acknowledge it more, that it is happening with all the women. It is not just you. There are so many women across, and have this. I call it as the pause power. Okay, so which means in my team actually I have started with this particular technique, wherein you are just allowed to come and speak what is training you. It is very important. Just acknowledging that this is happening at the workplace. Maybe it is about the work. Maybe, I'm just needing a support in XYZ area is very important. And then just be as a support there because, many women do not like to come across as vulnerable. If I speak, then I come across as an arrogant. If I am assertive, I come across as I'm pushing more boundaries. And that's why we hold a lot of things, because in a certain manner we are seeing women. And even though we talk about feminism, even we talk about women leaders, we still judge ourselves. I'm sure before this podcast started, sometimes in our head also it happens. Okay, will I be able to present myself better? Will there be any point which will really make any sense? We constantly judge ourselves. So this is a silent burn, and it is actually draining out so much energy out of us. And there are always two voices in our head. So I would like to give a little help here. There are two voices. One voice which is always a critic voice, which keeps on telling you, you are doing wrong, you will be judged, you will be, questioned your abilities and doubts. And then there is a soft voice, which is called a cheerleader voice, which is going to tell you that, go for it, do it, just see what is going to happen. That voice is always softer. You generally don't hear that because the critic voice is so much like, big in your head that you actually ignore your intuition, you ignore the cheerleader voice. So many points which we talk actually resonating with each other. We're talking the same points from the different perspectives. So just come together, build your own network, support each other, take the help of coaches, take the help of the mentors. And I also say, don't wait for the mentors or don't wait for the coaches. That mistake we did. I don't want, women to again fall for that trap that I need someone to help me or take me out of it. You can learn from the kid, you can learn from your teacher, you can learn from your neighbor, you can learn from your leader. There's so many, teachers around us. Just have that perspective, what I can influence right now in me. Do not get drained by this silence burn. And if anyone is out there feeling that silent burn, they want to talk about their ambitions or the careers or the things that are happening, I will be there as a support. They can actually reach out to me. Simply, I will just acknowledge, if you want help, we can help. If you just want someone to listen, we'll listen that. I think it is a brilliant, Devika, that, this podcast is happening. Here also, I have connected with wonderful women who have so much different perspective, and yet we are speaking the same language, but in a different manner. So build such kind of networks that will help. So I think just come out there and do not suffer that silent burn alone. That's what I would like to talk.
Thank you, Pritam. And I think Ivan and Vicky are doing a fantastic job in giving the platform. So now I would like Hema to speak on this. One taboo conversation you would like to have right now.
Uh, a taboo conversation. I mean, I keep having these conversations, so it will be an overkill if I say what I want to have right now. But something that I feel very important is women should talk about two things. One is boundaries, boundaries at home, boundaries at work, boundaries in terms of expectations. These are very, very important because we in IWN we also have a active mentoring initiative. Devika, you're aware of that. And quite often, and we have it for two categories of people, two categories of experience bands. One is the 5 to 10 and 10 plus. What we've noticed is a lot of times people want to grow, yet there is something holding them back. And what is holding them back? If you have deeper conversations, you realize that it's either work pressure, which means they've taken on too much. uh, Sometimes they are even buying back work, like reverse delegation happens. There's also they're very conscious about setting boundaries at home, even small things like asking family members to support daily chores, or maybe just delegate tasks even at home. That doesn't happen. So this, and the other is the need to be able to speak about what you want to do, ideate. So like Preetam said, it's very important. One taboo conversation that I would feel is very important is this: talk about boundaries, talk about how you can establish boundaries so that you create time for yourself. Speak. It's not always about protesting, but then if you have a small band of peers whom you can speak to, then a lot of things get sorted out just with that listening and bouncing of ideas. So while mentoring a senior does it, there's also the power of, like I would call it, reciprocal mentoring, amongst peers. That's really important. And another thing is sustain it. We have people who will talk once, somebody gives an idea, and then they go back into that shell. They're probably setting boundaries for themselves. So I would like to encourage boundaries as a taboo conversation, which has to be untabooed, if I could say that.
Definitely. And I can fully say that Ivan is helping us talk about boundaries and really come out in the open. So thank you once again for this initiative at Ivan. Thank you so much. Deepa, your turn.
We've for women, and it is coming at various levels and various stages. And it is important because it gives access and opportunities. But what I would like to talk about more is the perceptions that come when women get those opportunities through reservations. Because what happens is once they get that opportunity, even if they would have got it with or without reservation, there are two aspects to it. One is what people start saying. They start saying that she got it because there was a reservation, otherwise she wouldn't be here. So there's a lot of judgment around a woman who gets those opportunities because of or, the reservations exist and a woman has got an opportunity. The other and more important thing, which also relates to what we've been talking about, mental health, is the self-doubt that it generates for the woman herself. She starts questioning, oh, did I just get this opportunity because there was a reservation, or I totally deserve it? Or, am I here because there's credibility, there's qualifications, and I deserve to be here? Or I'm here because there was a reservation and I've got it. So we are opening up opportunities through this, but we are not as much talking about the impact of perceptions and the self-doubt which is getting created due to this. So while reservations are absolutely important, my vision is that there would be a time where systemically we have solved the problems where, it's a world of equity, and whether men or women, they are getting opportunities and they are there because of, they totally deserve to be there. But until that happens, we need those reservations. But then we need to talk more about what happens after that happens. So it is also applicable to when a woman gets a seat on the board, right? So they are now sitting there. We are still talking about how to get women a seat at the table. But what happens once she's sitting there on the table? We are not talking as much about that. Again, in terms of perceptions, in terms of her own, questions and doubt, or the voice in her head. So how can we support a woman after she's there? I think that's something that I would love to talk about more, which I'm not seeing happening as much right now.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely a valid point and a very important point raised by you. Thank you so much. Vibha?
Yeah, I think redefining those ambitions which hamper anyone, any women. When we say we want to be in a leadership role, and we are told we are seen like that, no, why? We actually don't show ourselves very clearly that we can handle this responsibility very well. So, talking about this taboo of redefining the ambitions, I want that thing to be really clear that ambitions, when a woman has it, it doesn't mean that she's aspiring for a leadership role. She's aspiring to be best in her job, what she's doing. Many times in our offices, whether I'm teaching or whether I've seen in my this thing in journalism also, whenever we tell them like the editorial role used to be limited to men only for a long time. And that actually I want to be spoken about because when it comes to risk taking, when it comes to your safety concerns and all that, it's always we are told, no, please, you don't do it because this is not meant for you. This is an open discussion I want. We can take risk. We are prepared for it. All those jobs which women are doing in army and whatever it is, it took a big, like, if you all see the journey, is such a long journey for all of us to reach here. But still, that thing we are facing in our profession in a major way. Same in teaching also. There's so many things. Yeah, teaching is considered to be a profession for women as such. But I'll tell you, there's so many things we face every day being just a women. When it comes to handling the boys, yeah, men. Now I'll say because we teach PG students, they're men. And then it comes to it when it's something, some issue has happened in the colleges or something, we are told no, women won't handle it. You please don't go because let the male members handle it. And then what happens? The boys consider us as vulnerable because they think the ma'am didn't come in front when the issue was being discussed. So that part of that leadership thing, which is the ability which we all have it, we can handle any pressure, we can handle any crowd, we can handle that crowd management thing. Yeah. In my profession, crowd management is an issue which we face every day. We are told no, 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 please don't go in the protest. You are not go. Like recently, we had this farmer protest in Mumbai, and we were specifically the women were told specifically, please you don't go because those are rowdy guys. You will, yeah, I agreed. I agree. We have our security issues, but then why we have been trained into it how to handle those rowdies. So why are you stopping me for doing a good story, which will my male colleague will take it? Same in colleges also. Many times we are told not to handle the festivals, the become the forefront of the festivals. Let the male handle it. Then what happens is the boys take us for granted. Oh, ma'am is not coming for it. Then they are like they take a very kind of attitude. Okay, so my ambitions definitely are not to become a leader, but be given the place in the society that I can take care of myself. I want that issue to be discussed openly. I can take care of myself, whether it's my family, whether it's my job, or whether it's in my profession. So that think men have in their head that they are taking care of ourselves. I don't want that thing to happen. I can take care of my personal security. I can take care of my mental security. Everything. I don't want you. This I
Yeah.
want every girl, young women, to actually realize it, because they depend on their brothers, father for everything. Still, that mentality which I was facing 30 years or 35 years back, same I see in my girls. Because a brother has to be there, father has to be there, father waiting outside the college for the girl to come down because he feels insecure. Why? I agree, society is insecure, but we have to make them ready for that thing. You forget us when you get us married. You after that, parents forget where are you? Your husband becomes your this thing. I don't want that. I want me to be me. That is what exactly I want this thing to be. I don't want anybody's support, whether it's my parents, whether it's yeah, definitely that is needed, but definitely I want to be on my own. Let me be my own. Let me fly.
Interesting that you ask that because mentoring has multiple. One, there is the senior, junior, the more experienced mentoring the younger minds. That's one aspect of mentoring, which is traditionally there, and you can never deny that it is extremely powerful. But what is also important, and that happens a lot in IWN because of the peer circles, is we bounce off. There are we all use each other as peer mentors. You have a quick problem, there is somebody to reach out in a network like that. So peer mentoring, reciprocal mentoring is very very present, and I've benefited a lot because of that. Because I know if there is a professional um, roadblock, then I have certain people I can speak to. If there is any other kind of roadblock, I know there are certain other people that I can reach to. So widening your network helps there. Then the other thing is learning from youngsters. We have a lot of young blood, entrepreneurs, a lot of them. There's a lot that we learn from the reverse mentoring, the younger generation. So these are definitely aspects that are important. But one thing I would like to kind of bring to the forefront, and especially aligned to the topic, is 60s are the new 40s, which means that our runway to pick up more skills has just become longer. So pick up elements, and like Indra Nui said, it's important that you have a hip pocket skill. At any point of time, you should become indispensable in what you have to offer. So make sure that these models of mentoring help you with. And today it's also a reality that a lot of companies are focusing on the second career. It could be second career from the typical requirement of, career, take a break as a homemaker and then come back to career, or career, you've taken a break as a startup founder or doing some solopreneur activity, and then you want to get back. So whatever it is, you need to find mentors who will support you through this journey. I think those to me would be the new models of old and new models of mentoring.
Good question. Okay, because the answer lies in the question itself. So self-awareness in itself, many times people think that means I need to change. Many times when we talk about self-awareness, okay, so I have to be, aware in XYZ habits or XYZ way that I'm doing. But self-awareness does not actually means that you need to change, but it talks more about finding what works well with you. And it is also important that you do not have that self awareness in terms of only the person, but about the system also. It is very important that you become self aware. And when we talk about perception, again there are two types of perceptions. One, the perception I have in my mind about myself and about the system. Sometimes the system is just working fine, but we have that perception that they are against me. Many times we like to think that people are against me, they will not see me in that light, they think that I'm not capable. So I think we need to drop those perception. We have been carrying this perception so long in our mind, and that's why we hesitate, we don't take risk, and we keep on building those credibility through certificates and all that. So that self-awareness, you can do a simple audit. I will call it as a like a perception audit. You can do perception audit for yourself, the way I'm appearing to people. Okay. And you can just ask this to your trusted peers or the trusted, family members who are going to give you right feedback. Sometimes, what happens, we go to wrong people to ask about our feedback, and they are not actually giving you the genuine feedback. They're simply saying, okay, you're doing good, don't worry. So we need a critic, and we need good constructive feedback as well. So ask them before going into that meeting, like, how I'm appearing in this particular meeting, or if the system which I'm going to work with, how they are working, what is my perception coming in between, wherein I'm not able to create that particular impact. And then self awareness is like, again, we have things in our head that, if I am very strong, that means people will consider me as I am, someone who is very aggressive. Like there was a research which was done by Harvard Business Review, where women are considered as 21% more aggressive if they are confident women. Okay, so these perceptions are hindering. Already there are so many people around us who are hindering our, the way we appear or the way we come across in the meetings. You don't have to do that again. Okay, so be your own perception audit. Think before you are entering into the meeting, or maybe you are going for an event. You are going on a stage. So there are so many events. Maybe the way you talk to your relatives, think about those perception as well, and don't let that critic voice come into picture, but simply ask, how am I coming across to your trusted peers? And then sit with yourself and just think, where I do need to, areas where I can influence, why I'm looking like this, why people are thinking about me like this. It is not going to help. Simple thing is where I can create my influence, what I can shift so that this perception can be changed. Do I really want to change this perception? Because as per the system, sometimes you have to appear strong, so that is required there. So don't try to work on it, which is going to create more impact. Think about it. So I think self awareness is more of a tool which you can use to check your influence and how you are impacting lives, because it is not just about what we do, but how we land our impact on other people as well. It is equally important.
Oh, well, thank you. I wasn't expecting to be asked a question because I was so enjoying this is gold to hear it straight from the experiences and the people. I really enjoyed it. I must say a lot of questions were answered that were in my mind. So I think it's a small group, but we're telepathic, I suppose. It was lovely. I can't think of anything specific that I could ask on this meeting, but I must say I enjoyed everything that each of you shared. I think it's a shared consciousness about women, and it never ceases to surprise me how much of an overlap we might have in our experiences, right? The self-doubt, the way we think about risk, what we prioritize. Like Hema said, right? There is the nest I want to take care of. We all know that time we thought that you will never trade your time at home for the growth that is coming up in front of you. Um, it never amazes me that when women get together to talk, there is a very strong overlap in how we think as a gender. So, well, thanks for extending the time to me. I don't suppose I have a specific question. I'm just ruminating on and thinking through what every one of you has shared. It has been extremely valuable to me.
Thank you so much to the wonderful panelists and Charita for being a patient listener and listening to us. I will say I am very inspired in the company of this distinguished leadership, and I have learned a lot. Like Hema said, that people are learning from the youngsters in IWN. I think we also look up to you because of what you have done and how you have reached where you are, and you continue to be our inspiration. So thank you so much for for coming today and gracing this podcast. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.